to On the Mark. It's not your first time. I believe you've been here before.
I think so.
Right. Well, it's been On the Mark, I'm told, been going for how many? 13 years? So I'm sure in that period of time we would have had all the celebrities in Nevis and you would have been at the top of the list.
Definitely.
So I'm sure you would have been there. So Miko is here. And Miko, you have with you your daughter.
Yes.
Who has come. And I will turn the show over to you and her so you could tell the people why she has come.
Okay, well, it's a good night to the listening public. Welcome to On the Mark. You know, it's a very popular program. We are happy to be here tonight, my daughter and myself. We did release a song earlier in the week, but we are doing an official release tonight with 2 songs. My daughter, her name is Tamish Esdale, but her calypso name is Lady Destiny. She spoke to me about 2 years ago. She wanted to sing calypso. And I thought that, she was joking. First I said, well, probably she can't sing, so I wouldn't waste time writing a calypso. And I played it out until it was too late last year, but that was deliberate, because I wasn't sure if she could sing. Then she came back early this year and she decided, Daddy, I'm serious, I want to sing. So I said, okay. When I looked to see who singing calypso, I said, she, is a part of me, she should be able to handle them. So I went and got my songs. I spoke with her and she decided, she can do it. So we went to the studios, did some recording. We did one of the songs been done with Abo. The other one was done with Corey Tyson of the Core, fame. And they came out pretty good. I was very pleased. And like I said, she shocked me with the way she sang, because I never heard her before.
Never heard her sing?
Never heard her.
You've seen her dance, because she's been on the stage.
Yeah, she's good on the stage.
Yeah.
She is good on the stage. And that's why I feel comfortable with her going in. And so I used to tell her, sing one song. And she said she don't want to embarrass me by singing my So I rest my case, really.
All right. Well, Tamish, welcome to On the Mark. Your first time?
Right, yes.
Yes? All right. So I'm sure you want to say goodnight to Dolores, because I know she's listening, and all the church-going fans.
Yes. Good night to my family, Church Gone Massive, everyone out there who's listening.
And you're singing as what? What is your stage name?
Lady Destiny.
Lady Destiny. So what is it you have for us tonight that you want the Nivision and Kiddishan and global public to hear? When you're on this show, you're on a very big platform. And so people will be listening far and wide. As a matter of fact, I will tell you, you can't judge a show by the number of calls.
Right.
Because people listen religiously even though they may not call.
Right.
And you'll be surprised the number of WhatsApp and text messages I would get from people who say I was listening and so and so and so with the case. From literally all across the world, people listen. So I'm a little curious as to what, and you have an opportunity to speak to people. Your dad is a very famous calypsonian, so certainly you have good pedigree. I think this reminds me, in Trinidad, you have, what's the name, the soca artist, a female.
Blue Boy daughter.
Yes. Super Blues daughter.
Yeah.
I can't remember her name now. The lady with Bungie Garlin. Yeah. Fair and Lions. I think she is Super Blues daughter. And so you have that sort of pedigree there already. But at the end of the day, of course, King Miko is not going to be on stage.
Exactly.
Right? Lady Destiny is going to be on stage. So what can the people look forward to?
Well, the first song is entitled My Father Send Me. Was done by Abo, and the backups was done by Naila Daniel.
Okay, a Miss Culture contestant,
Yes.
Naila. So it'd be interesting if you become queen and Naila become queen too. Huh? All right. So My Father Send Me is the first song. Mr. DJ, could you cue that one up? And then we'll see. Now, what is this song about?
Crime, the cost of living, and festival.
So it's topical issues, but you say your father sent you.
Yes,
All right,
to
we have
deliver
that.
the message.
We have that queued up. All right, so let's hear it. On the Mark. This one has been released before.
Yeah.
This one was released before.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the one that we've had to listen to before, but the first time on the Mark.
Yeah.
My Father Sent Me, Lady Destiny, which is brand new for Culture Armor 45. Well, I think that had in a lot of Miko in it.
I think so.
And I don't know why you sent her to me and talking about salary because obviously that is not something that I'm prepared to discuss here and on the back, you know. But the song is an interesting song because it has a little bit of everything.
Yes, yes.
You know, it has a little bit of everything. You know, sometimes you get a song which is just one topic.
Yeah.
You know, culture. I'm here talking about the crowning the wrong people sometimes. So,
Right.
you know, your message to the judges, cost of living, crime. You seem to touch a lot of difficult topical issues there. So, what's the feedback been like? Because you said this song is actually out in the public domain already.
It's been great.
Feedback has been
Really
good?
great.
Pretty good, yeah. We got a call from Washington, call from California.
England.
Up to last night, about midnight, somebody called me from California.
Mm-hmm.
They listening on YouTube. There's a Caribbean radio station
Yes.
there. So I don't know who sent the music there, but they told me they were listening there. So the feedback been pretty good.
Good.
Pretty good.
And I noticed that you're not joking. You say you're coming for the monarchy. So I mean, you're sending a clear message from earlier clock that you're a serious contender, right? So all right, well we want to see how this is going to go. Now you have a second song, Mr. DJ. Could you cue up the second song, and tell us a bit about the second song? What is the second song about?
Well, it's mostly about the festival, but you know, most of the activities are in the night. So we thought it was good to put something together. We call it Culturama Nights, and I think it's very interesting. We thought it was good in a calypso beat, but I thought that it would have been better in a cadre beat. Seeing cadre is our thing, and this is a big year, and I think that we need to do more the cadre anyway.
Yes.
And we done that. This one was written by Bahaulan, Sakrat and Ashes.
Sure.
I just did my twist to it, really, because, you know, everybody should have their own little thing, you know, added to whatever it is. But I thought it was a good second round song. It speaks to, well, people out there who want to come for the festival. It's something like an invitational song. At the same time, it's for you to, you know, come and take part in what we have here. So.
And what's this one called?
Culturama Nights. Oh, and the backups was done by Naila.
Naila as well?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
and it's Culturama Night, not Culturama Nice. Even the Culturama is nice. But
Culturama Nights.
Yeah, it's about the nights.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, here we have Culturama Nights, brand new for Culturama 45. First time this is being heard.
Yes, yes.
And so they're releasing this brand new here on The Mark.
In the cadre.
Culturama Nights.
Hey! The cadre nice. The cadre sweet. Nice, man.
There you have it. Culture Armor Nights, Cadre Beat. I haven't heard the Cadre Beat in a while, and I agree with you. 45 years of Culture Armor, it is good to see that we're incorporating aspects of our culture.
True.
Many of us don't remember to say enough that Cadre Beat was something created right here.
Right.
I think Bahola is credited
Yeah.
with creating that.
And Soul
beat.
Survivors.
Soul Survivors as well. Okay, well, I've always heard about Bahola being involved with it, but certainly I think that it is something unique to Nevis and something that we would promote. So here we have Lady Destiny, Cadre Beat, Culture Armor Nights. So I think two very interesting songs. I
you.
am not a calypso. How
Pundit.
should I say, pundit or expert, but I believe you're going to create some problems this year. That is my sense. You know, sometimes you hear something and you just feel like it's going to go places. And
Don't
so it's
take
gonna be
Mag on
interesting.
and feel like you're done with it. You got to go work.
No, I hear what I said. I said I hear you're going to create some problems.
I know, I
I didn't
know.
put it any further than that. But I think that it's going to. So My Father Sent Me and Culture
Very
Harmonizer,
nice.
two songs from the new artist
Yes.
and newcomer to the stage, Lady
Destiny.
Destiny.
And I think she sounds pretty good for a first timer.
Well, and I believe, I agree, and I think that it's going to be interesting to see how the fans respond.
Right.
And how you know the people respond. But I also, just because we will have to wind up now, but I just wanted to say, in addition to that, that is really good to see a woman coming into the ring and a young woman coming into the ring, because a lot of times, you know, people see calypso as if it's not for young people. And not many females. But of course in Sinkits we have Miss Independent over there, who's now, I think she's won back-to-back crowns. And so clearly women, in fact last Calypso show in Sinkits, I think it was all women in the top 3, if memory serves. So clearly there's an opportunity there to do great things. So I want to wish you all the best, Lady Destiny, and trust and hope that you do well. Don't be like your father and forget your lines on stage. Right? So I don't want you.
No, she got her song down pack already.
Down pack.
I usually, sometimes I go to the studio and I'm singing off a paper
Uh-huh.
because I write my songs too close to recording.
So I see.
So, and then by the time I start selling my CDs, and so I ain't got no time to learn the song. I might remember the chorus, but then.
So that's
you
why you
know,
go on
yeah.
stage and
But I can tell you something to Mark. There's a lot of calypsonians who can do that. Go on stage, miss a line, and pick up.
and pick
It's
up.
so difficult.
Yeah, it's difficult
So,
to do.
yeah, it is, because then your music gone, you know, your lines
I
gone.
can't find it.
You can't find it.
All right. Well, so you, what you're saying is, in your career you boss and people don't know.
People know, but I'm the master of picking up. You
Okay.
know, I find where I could
So
come.
you just
come
keep
again,
going.
Keep going.
Okay.
Keep going.
All right. Good.
Trinidad said though. Trinidad say, if you blunder, you still can win the crown. If your bust is when you walk off stage, you don't remember your lines.
I see. Okay.
But a blunder, you still can win because you can pick up in the next round.
Pick up. Okay. Good. All right. Good. Well, we had King Miko, who came with his daughter, Lady Destiny. And Lady Destiny, we wish you all the very best.
Thank you.
All right. Good. Thank you very much. All right, ladies and gentlemen, there you had it. A new artist, 2 brand new songs, My Father Sent Me and Culture Armor Nights, and the Sweet Cadre Beat, being a part, of course, of what we're seeking to do here for Culture Armor 45. And I believe that Lady Destiny is going to create some problems. I've said so, let me say it again. I believe she's going to create some problems this year for Culture Armor. This Culture Armor and Kaiser show in particular, I think is wide open, and it should be rather interesting. So we'll see how that goes, and we'll continue to think and continue to do the very best we can. So we're having a bit of a changeover. We remind that we don't have a commercial break, so we're live throughout the 2 hours. So we have just been joined by another Calypsonian who is here and has come back, I think, 2 years ago into the arena, and he's here. I was wondering whether or not he was going to sing this year. He likes to keep me in sort of, you know, suspense and tenterhooks, you know, where he's saying he's not sure, and then he comes and he drops something important. So we have in here tonight, I'm talking about, of course, the man that they call Giro. Giro, welcome back to On The Mark. You only come once a year, Culture Armor time, but nevertheless, we're happy to see you. You were here last year, you're here again this year, and I want you to tell us a little bit about what you have to offer this evening to the listening public.
Yes, good night, Honorable.
Good night to you.
And once again, thanks for having me, allowing me to release my song on your show. Of course, you know, I did it 2017. I did it last year. And of course, Andy Mark is a big platform, so I'm doing it this year again. I want to say good night to the listening audience. And I want to welcome everybody to come home and to enjoy the Culture Armor this year. I see in the studio as well the King of Kings. I call him the King of Kings. So, well, some people say he's just the king, but for me, he's the King of Kings. Good night, Miko.
Good night, sir.
Yeah.
And welcome.
And I must say that what I heard from your daughter, I was thinking that is you who was singing.
Oh, really?
Was it you help us sing our?
I sound more like a woman, you mean?
No, she sound like you.
Well,
I'm telling
okay,
you.
okay, I got you.
She sound like you.
All right.
Well, the
thank you.
daughter say he not coming back, so I don't know. Is it like he's
I don't
retired
remember
now?
hearing that line, you
He
know.
say, my
Brant there,
father
that-
send me.
He
'cause he-
sent me.
Yeah, 'cause he
Oh,
ain't coming.
she say he ain't coming back,
He
but you
ain't
don't want
coming
me to come back.
Yeah, but sometimes you send somebody somewhere and you go and cut the road. You know?
But that would be a good finals, you know?
yeah.
That would be a good
Yeah,
finals.
definitely.
It's Lady Destiny and King Miko in the finals.
sweet,
So what do you have this year? Every year you come with something interesting. I still remember Black Sheep. I thought that was a fascinating composition. But what is it you have for us this year?
Well, what do you expect from me?
Something witty, as always.
All right.
Something interesting. But I think the public has been anxiously waiting to hear.
All right. You know, if I walk in town tomorrow morning, at least 10 people must say to me, give up Penda Black Sheep. I'm talking about this year, not last year. I'm
Yeah.
talking about right now.
Yes.
And the song that I'm going to release tonight is going to be the same thing.
Same thing.
All next year, you're going to hear people talking about it. Well, you know, fellas like me and Miko, we're from the old school. And we know the whole history of the Culture Armor. And because of that, you know, we can put composition together that, you know, is a little, you know, more in tune with the Culture Armor. Not because we're necessarily better, but we know the Culture Armor, you know. And so, I felt, well, you know, over the years, you know, there was a time when the Calypsonian used to sing a serious calypso and a road march. And it was a nice, sweet tune that everybody could jam to. The young, the old. But I find in recent time, the older folks and the young children, they have to stay out the jam. Because the bands take over, and not to say anything bad about the band, but they play a different type of music. Mind you, I'm not saying anything is wrong with it, but it's a different type of music, and the young children and the older folks sort of shy away because they feel they will get trampled. You know, and there's a lot of fighting and so on. So I sit down and I thought, and I said, you know what happened? When, you know, when the older people jamming, they're fighting. I look and I see the young children. When they're having fun, they're in the bouncing castle. And they're bouncing up and jumping on each other's feet. But nobody fighting. So I said, you know what happened? This year we're going to dedicate the parade and the jam to them. And they will show us how to have fun once again. And of course, the old people can join in too. As such, the song is called Bouncing Castle.
Bouncing Castle. You have it queued up, Mr. DJ? This is going to be interesting.
Yeah,
Giro
well,
Osby.
before you play it, let me just say, shout up a couple of people. I want to say thanks to Jazz, who helped me with my arrangements. But I also want to say thanks to Wes, who did the product. And I think he did a marvelous job. Wes, thanks again. And we're going to work some more together.
So you've been working with Jazz for some time now. Jazz is your
Yes,
relative. is it?
hopefully I might do one with Jazz and one with Wes, you know?
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Good. So here we have the man Giro, brand new for Culture Armor 45, something called Bouncing Castle.
It's Giro again. Time to do some bouncing, my friend. Even the old people can join in this one. If we really love our children, let's celebrate them. Let's celebrate them. Show them love and appreciation for all the good things that they have done. I know how we support them in the interprimary, and give thanks to everyone who give trophies and money. But every year is the adult who dominate the parade and jam. Well, this year we go dedicate them to our children. We're bouncing going to come from Gingerland. on, bring your children. Let them show us how to have some fun. Come on, everybody. Let's join and make merry. For it's a bouncing castle in town. Bounce, bounce, bounce. Bounce, bounce, bounce. This year we taking a stand against crime and violence. Come join the parade. We want everyone to come. If you see the children, them they bouncing up and down. There's no violence, only happiness in town. This one is for the children. Nice, man. We got nice it up. This since way back in the 80s that our children have not joined the jam. There have been no sweet melodies for them to join in and have some fun. But I remember the days of Labu and Chubby, Chaplet and Miko, Bahola and Chevy. Picking this and that used to add some class and flavor. Well, this year we going back to our roots and culture. So to all the parents them, come on, bring your children. Let them show us how to have some fun. Come on, everybody. Let's join and make merry, for it's a bouncing castle in town. Bounce, bounce, bounce. Bounce, bounce, bounce. This year we taking a stand against crime and violence. Come join the parade. We want everyone to come. If you see the children, them they bouncing up and down. There's no violence, only happiness in town. Nice. Let this be an invitation to all divisions. Respect your cultural norms. We do not want no commotion. This year when we jamming in the band, will be like the days of old. Everything is irie, jamming nice and sweet. For this anniversary, even the premier will be joining in the band, enjoying the fete and supporting the children. This one is a Panman paradise. So to all the parents them, come on, bring your children. Let them show us how to have some fun. Come on, everybody. Let's join and make merry, for it's a bouncing castle in town. Bounce, bounce, bounce. Bounce, bounce, bounce. This year we taking a stand against crime and violence. Come join the parade. We want everyone to come. If you see the children, them they bouncing up and down. There's no violence, only happiness in town. Bounce, 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 bounce.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that's the man Gio with something that he's calling Bouncing Castle. Gio, very slow beat. The pan, you know, bit of it I think is very interesting, just as we had the early artists using the cadre beat. It seemed like you've introduced some pan music, and there was a time when pan used to be on the road. People were actually jamming behind a steel pan. I saw that the young man Rohan Claxton has tried to reintroduce it the last few Culturamas, and you see people actually enjoying that and jamming behind the steel band, as opposed to the hi-fi and the big bands now, as you rightly pointed out, they've taken over the road. So how do you see this song playing? How does it fit into what you're hearing for Culturama 45 so far?
Well, I have heard a lot of good songs, of course. But I am certain that Bouncing Castle is the #1 road march for the year.
So you think
I don't know that it will make road march, of course. But I know it's going to be the sweetest song that you should play on the road. And that is why I said there was a time when we had a nice, sweet road march that everybody could participate with. But nowadays, you know, because the bands take over, you know, thank God I can play music, and I have lots of people who can play music. And if it continue, I can have some people put together with a band. Lots of guys who play music in Nevis here. I introduce them to music. So I know something about music too, you know. But the bands are taking over, you know, and what we see, you know, on the parade and the jamming really, you know, it don't really fit so much with the Culturama. Mind you, it's music of course too, you know. But you know, I would really like to see something again where the old folks, even the old folks, and the young children can take part. I know this song is going to be very good for the children parade.
Okay. All right, good. So there you had Gio with something brand new called Bouncing Castle. Choosing On The Mark. Gio, thank you again for coming to On The Mark and choosing this platform to release your song. I know you have a wide choice in terms of where you can go. And you have come back here year after year, and I'm very grateful for that. And I think the public gets a sense among the Mark as to the excitement that is building here for Culturama 45. I congratulated you more than once on coming out of retirement and coming back into the swing of things insofar as Calypso is concerned. And I think it's interesting tonight that we had a juxtaposition, because here we're hearing from you, a veteran, and we heard from Lady Destiny, a brand newcomer to the genre. Absolutely, absolutely. So you have any parting words for us, for the general public, your fans out there? What else they can look forward to hear from Gio? It's June now. Yeah. We have another month and a half to go before we really kick off the official start of Culturama. I think we start on July 25th, if memory serves. So when can we expect the second tune? What do you see, and what can the public look forward to in terms of a second tune?
Well, the second song is already made this year, and well, I figure in a week or two I should be releasing it. It's going to be a very good song as well again. Okay. Well, I cannot write something that isn't good, you know. Honestly, my literature is too high for me to write anything. I don't. You notice even that song, it's a dancing song, but it has good lyrics in it still, you know. And so, you know, they can expect something good. This year, though, I'm just going to go out and have fun for 45, you know. Right. And I'm going to invite all my friends. Why, all you folks, why, Bonnell, and all those guys over in New York, I'm inviting you guys to come home, you know. Come home and see something is good. See, why, you know, me and you started writing Calypso together up on Penny Hill. Come home and see you by this year, you know. I want to invite all my folks, and thanks again for all the many fans, you know, who have supported me, you know, from 2017 until now. I think I have gathered a good fan base, you know. In fact, the second song, if I may hint you, it's called For My Fans. For your fans. Okay, it's good. For my fans. And so, you know, I want to say again thanks to you, Honorable Premier, for allowing me to release here. I want to say thanks to Van Radio once again too, you know, and as I said, Culturama 45, let's go out and just have some fun this time. Good. Yeah. All right. Fantastic. And your song invite me to join the jam, so
I'll certainly look into it, you know, and see what I could do.
Yes, because you see, as I said, you can jump to the song without getting exhausted.
Yes.
You know, nice and smooth.
Nice and smooth.
Nice and smooth.
All right. Good. The man Giro, something that he called Bouncing Castle. Thank you, Giro, for being here with us.
Yeah, once again, thanks to the general public and thanks to you.
Okay. All right,
And
my brother.
also to Van Radio.
Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's now quarter to the hour of 9 o'clock. And we had, of course, some songs for Culturama. We heard from Lady Destiny, a brand new artist. She would have released 2 songs. One that we had heard before, My Father Send Me, and the second song that she released, Culturama Nights. And we've now heard a veteran, the man called Giro, with something that he thinks is a contender for a road march, he says, and that is called Bouncing Castle. As he said, something slow, something that older folks like myself can jam to without getting tired. And so I was happy that he invited me in his song to be a part of this jam that he's having, this Bouncing Castle. It looked like it'll be me and a set of little children going on the road, you know, old people section and a young people section. That seems to be what Giro is saying, that more people need to get involved. But I'm happy that he said that you just want to have some fun. Culturama is shaping up very nicely. The venues are shaping up very nicely, and I do believe that we're going to have a fantastic time. Remember, this year we're having our second homecoming celebration as well. And so we invite individuals from far and wide to be here for that homecoming celebration and to be a part of what we're doing for Culturama 45 years celebrating Nevis's culture in the summer's greatest lime, Culturama. And so I think that it's a wonderful time to come and experience our food, our music, our folklore, be a part of our culture, and immerse yourself in all things Nevision for 2 pulsating weeks of Culturama and cultural activities, street vibes, street food, street jams. I think it will be a wonderful time, and we invite one and all to come. All of our friends and family in St. Kitts, St. Martin, USVI, British Virgin Islands, Anguilla, Antigua, wherever you are, we invite you to come home. And of course, our friends and family in the United States, Canada, and the United Kingdom. I know many people are coming to have their family reunions, and that's we encourage that as well as part of the homecoming celebration. And we're going to have events all around the island. We're having the Calypso tents already that are happening at places like MEMS and other bars around. We're having the bar crawls. We're really doing a lot for Culturama. The young ladies have been revealed who are competing for the pageants. The young men as well who are competing for Mr. Cool. The young ladies who are in the swimsuit segment and competing for that. And I think that everybody looks fabulous, and it really is looking like it's going to be a wonderful, wonderful Culturama event this year. And so we invite one and all to be a part of that and to come out. And the Calypsonians, of course, there can be no Culturama without Kaiso, and the Calypsonians are coming and they're doing their part as well. And we saw tonight a veteran in Giro and a newcomer in Lady Destiny. Ladies and gentlemen, if you just tuned in, you must be listening to On The Mark. I'm your host, Mark Brantley, welcoming you to yet another edition of this show, which has been here now for over 13 years, a show where every Wednesday we come from 8 to 10, and it's a unique show in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis because we have 2 hours of commercial-free talk radio. That commercial-free is possible because we've had one sponsor for the 13 years, the law firm of Daniel Brantley. I want to thank them and continue to thank them. They've really been here all the time, every week, every month, ensuring that we're on the air. And of course, I can't thank them without also thanking Von Radio and Weber Herbert for giving the opportunity for this show to have had such a long relationship and longevity with Von Radio. VON, the voice of Nevis, the Eastern Caribbean's only powerhouse, 860 on your AM dial or www.vonradio.com. It is about 10 minutes or so to the hour of 9 o'clock. We're going to take some calls shortly. But before we do, I just wanted to say because you know, in St. Kitts and Nevis, we have the political temperature is rising. We clearly anticipate that we'll have an election within a year or so. And so parties and candidates are jockeying, people are getting themselves ready, and that is as to be expected. I have continued to say to my team in the Concerned Citizens Movement that we must be steady, we must be careful, we must continue to interact with our people, we must continue to perform. And I think at the end of the day, we will have a record on which we will run, and it is a record I think that we can be proud of and that all of Nevis can be proud of. The wider team unity, I think, also has a stellar record that it will run on in St. Kitts. The parties there, the People's Action Movement and the People's Labour Party, they will certainly run on what Team Unity has been able to accomplish. And we look forward certainly to the people rendering an honest verdict on us. I like to say you can't mark your own exam paper. So at the end of the day, despite how well we think we might be doing, it is for the people, and that is why we have elections, free and fair elections every 5 years or thereabouts. That is democracy at work, and the will of the people is the will of God. The voice of the people is the voice of God. And that is what tends to happen. And so we do the best we can. We leave the rest to the people, and it will be them in their collective wisdom who will determine where we go. So there's no need, I think, sometimes for some of us to get too agitated, to start the character assassination, the denigration that some people engage in. I've had my days of that, I can tell you, as a younger politician. I'm now an older man with gray in my beard and gray in my hair, and I have said that it is time now for my politics certainly to take a different look and a different tone, and to discuss matters in a different way. And so I have promoted the notion of One Nevis, seeking to heal old wounds and bring parties together. I think it is working, despite the natural neighbors of negativity and the constant shouting of negativity across the airwaves sometimes that we hear and that passes for political debate in the country. I think that very vocal but nevertheless minority is getting smaller and smaller, and the shouting and the cussing and the vitriol is finding less and less of a space in which it can maneuver. And so I think people now are asking for reasonable debate. They're asking for debate that is of a particular standard. People want to know that ideas are being discussed. People are talking about performance. They're talking about their future. And that is and will continue to be the standard, I think, that all of us will have to maintain. That is not to suggest that you don't have political pick-on, because that is part of the Caribbean culture. And if you jab me, you must expect you'll get a jab or two in return. That is the nature of our politics. But I think that there is the political pick-on where you jab at each other, but there's also an underlying level of sort of naked vitriol, which I think really has no place, where people come off as being so angry and so bitter, and you want to know why. Why are they so angry and so bitter? Why are they setting up their blood pressure? That continues to be a debate, I think, that people are going to have, and that the public is either going to be turned on to or turned off from. And as I said, ultimately, it is for the voters of the country to decide. Part of the noise that you're hearing now in the public square has to do with, I think, some misleading press, because I saw an article recently which suggested that St. Kitts and Nevis nationals will now have to provide their Facebook and social media profiles and social media history to the United States government when applying for a non-immigrant visa, or visitor's visa as we call it colloquially. And to hear some of the pundits and to see some of the articles, one would expect that it's only St. Kitts and Nevis people would have to do that. And that is simply not the case. The United States government has decided that it wants to have more of a check, if you will, on the opinions that people are voicing. Apparently this stemmed from some situation in the U.S. where one person was allowed to come in even though that person had various postings to social media sympathizing with terrorists and terrorist organizations, and that person, we are gathering, went on to commit some terrorist act within the United States. And so they're saying that they want a sense. And my advice to our people is that people in various countries are entitled to set their field. They want to set their parameters for entering their country. Going into anybody's country is not a right, it's a privilege. And if they say that you have to fly to the moon and back in order to get into their country, it is for you to decide whether you're prepared to fly to the moon and back to go to the United States. Some people will say, yes, I'm prepared to do it. Others will say it's not worth it. And that is, again, your choice to make. But I want to remind our people, because I continue to talk about people being responsible. A lot of people feel they can say whatever they want on social media. They can curse whoever they want. They can be derogatory. They can be vitriolic. They can almost sometimes be dangerous. They threaten people. Then we have this phenomenon where people feel that they have a fake profile. And they go on their fake profile and they use that as a platform for all manner of evil and to say all manner of things. I am saying to people, be careful. Because the United States government is now saying that you must bring that history. And don't bother think that if you are Joe Blow, and that is your correct name and your correct handle on Facebook or Twitter, and then you have 10 other fake accounts that you use to malign people. While Joe Blow, you're telling people, I love you, you're so nice. And then as some other fake profile, you're cussing people. If that is the case, then it seems to me that they're asking you now for all profiles you might have, which would include fake profiles. And they have ways and means of knowing exactly who is who. So I just want people to know that there's no real sense of anonymity. Some feel that, oh, if I put up a fake profile, then I could say whatever I want. If somebody really wants to find out who you are, they can. There are a variety of ways that they can use. And so I think that it is useful that our people remember that. And as you go now, when you go to the U.S. Embassy to get your visa, that you remember that as well. But the point I wanted to make is that do not be misled. This is not something unique to applicants from St. Kitts and Nevis. This is something that the United States government is introducing for people anywhere seeking a visitor's visa, non-immigrant visa to the United States. The phones have started to ring already. It's 5 minutes to 9, and so I'm going to allow the callers now to come in at 869-469-1616 and 869-469-1700. Before I take the first call, however, let me just say to King Miko and to the man Giro that while they were here, I had a note from Dr. Packer, my good friend there, say he's listening and he likes what he's hearing. And so, Packer, if you're listening still, you need to press that purchase button. He has a special button on his computer which says buy. And he likes to send me all kind of itineraries that he has developed. And it says hold, on hold, on hold. He likes to have things on hold on American Airlines. Packer, you must buy it. And I see you in the long jam for Culturama 45. Let's go to the phones and take some calls. Good evening, you're on the mark.
Good evening to the Honorable Premier Mark Grantley. Good evening.
Good evening to you, my brother.
Yeah, Mark, I want to put you on your guard. Because you got some deceitful people in this country just want to make up lies and turn things on people. I hear caller last night on Mr. Dwyer Astafan program that he gonna call into you because he want to find out what's going on with you. Because I think Miss Morton must make a presentation at the town hall meeting they had with the water thing, with the water, with the school where they're going to build.
Basti High School.
Basti High School, yes. And some exchanges of words with Miss Morton and whatever. I don't know how it got because they say after the meeting done, something happened.
Yeah.
Miss Morton touch nobody, she ain't do nobody nothing. But this caller now calling me from Mr. Dwyer Astafan and telling Mr. Dwyer Astafan, Miss Morton should resign. She should resign. She should resign. You mean what should be again for the tourism? The place for the tourism? She's the place for the tourism and acting like that she should resign. But Mr. Mark, let me tell him. The former Prime Minister, Miss Morton ain't a Prime Minister. Miss Morton on your place. But the former Prime Minister tell a lady, a former teacher who don't educate so much people in this country, tell her go and back she face because she asked him some question. To tell a young lady again, calling in for the program and asking for social and media and tell her that she making an ass of she.
Yeah, caller, you remember here at Von Radio, we have to be very careful about what we say. We've always said only the best we do. We want to maintain our broadcast standards. So we don't want to encourage any profanity or anything of that nature. You can, if you're seeking to say what somebody said, sanitize it so that it is consistent with what we're trying to do here at Von. I don't know who wants to call, but it's an open program. I like to pride myself as one of the most accessible politicians in the Federation, if not in the region, because I have a weekly Thursday meeting where I have what I call a one-on-one open house. And incidentally, tomorrow I will be having my open house. I do a weekly presentation here on Von Radio where people can call like yourself. And I also have a monthly press conference where clearly I field questions from our press. So what I will say is that I try to be accessible here, and certainly if somebody has something they want to ask, then they can certainly come in and call the show and ask whatever it is they wish to ask. I will try my best to respond, as I always do. What I will say is I've heard a lot of brouhaha about the Bastia High School. I am not even bothering to get into that debate. To me, that verdict has already been rendered. The issue was an issue during the elections of 2015, and the people would have voted, and they voted for a unity government to do something about the problem. And so as far as I'm concerned, that's that. The people voted, the unity government was elected, and it was elected to try and resolve that problem. It has done so in a temporary fashion by creating temporary accommodation for students, but it has always promised a brand new Bastia High School. And the issue now of where you could put that, Unity went through an entire period, a lengthy period. In fact, some of us in the cabinet felt that it was too long a period. But they went through a lengthy period of consultation. They had identified various sites. They had various stakeholder groups. They had discussions. And they finally settled on a site. And the big debate now is about the aquifer and whether or not that site is going to be damaging to the water supply. Now, you would have to be crazy as a government to go and destroy your main water supply. You'd have to be crazy. And I feel that some of the arguments that I've heard advanced are really nonsensical. At the end of the day, any construction on a large scale, like the Bastia High School, will potentially have some environmental impact. Any construction of a dock, you're doing the cruise pier down at Port Zante, it's going to have an environmental impact. You're doing a hotel along the coast, whatever you're doing, even a small home, you need things like sewage and all of that, it's going to have an environmental impact. So the question is, how do you limit that environmental impact? How do you control, how do you ensure that using technology and engineering and all the skill sets available to us, we ensure that that impact is minimized or otherwise eliminated? And it happens every day. It's not magic. I see in places like Dubai, they create a whole island, I think they call it Palm Island. A whole island. These are things that are done all around the world. Bridges are built, large infrastructural projects are created. What was sea as it converted to land, and what was land converted to lake sometimes. That is happening. And the question is not for us to run away from development, but for us to ensure that we have the necessary technical expertise brought to bear, that the engineering and the technology is right to limit any negative impact or to eliminate it altogether. That's why people talk about resilient building, building smarter, building better homes. There used to be a time when we used to build in a particular way. After hurricanes started to come and take off people's roof, we change, and we're now building better. So I don't understand why all the hoopla and all the debate. And so many people now turn specialists and expert and want to advise and want to say they know. And people talk about aquifer. Aquifer is now the #1 word in the lexicon of St. Kitts and Nevis. Aquifer. Everybody talking about aquifer. Some people, I don't even know if they understand what an aquifer is, but they're talking about aquifer. Aquifer, aquifer, aquifer. I'm surprised for Carnival this year we don't have a couple songs about the aquifer, because that is the reality now. And I just feel that sometimes we need to step back, forget all the noise that we're hearing, and focus and say that Team Unity promised that they would have a solution for the Bastia High School, and Team Unity now is delivering on that promise. It's as simple as that. And let us move on. Let's go back to the phones, take some calls. Good evening, you're on the mark.
Yeah, Mark, sorry about that. I see I get cut. Sorry about that.
Yes.
But now, the former Prime Minister make all those statements and said those things, right? But he never come on radio and criticize the former Prime Minister and say that he should resign. He should resign immediately for them statement he make. And he talk shows when he was there as the Prime Minister. So, Mark, I'm going to tell you something, you know. We got to be careful in this country, especially when the Labour Party in opposition. They try everything to get back in government, and they send the supporters them to whatever forum the unity keep, or whatever going on in this country, to mess up and mash up and do what they want to do, and turn a blind eye and try to twist things the way they want to twist it. But Mark, let me tell you something. I believe that in this country of ours, the Federation, St. Kitts Nevis, nobody could distract us from the right thing we're going on, especially people like me, who really mobilize behind this unity to be here and working for the country and working for the people in the Federation, Mark. And I just want the people, when the next election comes, do what they got to do. Because this government is working. Not who talk, because you all in God. You all in God, man. All kind of lawyer, doctors, all kind of people are coming out and saying it's professional because of Bastia High School down to build. They're saying all kind of things. So much of things done building below on the water aquifer, and they wasn't saying nothing. All that's trying now think you got like an export. Mark, you have a wonderful night. God bless.
All right, my brother. Thank you very much for that. But you're right. Exports coming out of the woodwork. Exports in what I don't know. Do we have somebody else on the line? Let's go back to the phones. Good evening. You're on the mark.
Good evening, Mr. Bantley.
Good evening to you, my dear. How are you?
I can tell on my radio. Good evening to the people of Nevis. Now, let me get it from the radio. I want to send condolences to the family of Louise Cross Brown, to her husband and children. They live out at Sheriff Village.
Mm-hmm.
So, Godwin, my condolences go to you and the entire family coming from Sister Sylvine and the members of the Maranatha Church. Sorry about the noise.
Well, can you turn the radio down because it's really disturbing us?
Yeah, I'm trying to get away from it. I don't know, I cannot see to turn it off. Anyway, let me move. Did you hear anything what I said?
Yes, you send condolences.
Yes, to Godwin Brown and his family, and the passing of his wife, Louise Cross Brown. She was one of my best friends and godmother to my last daughter. So that's all I have to say.
Okay. All right.
All right.
Okay, good. Thank you very much for that. And I join you in extending condolences as well. Let me just take a moment, because I was just sent a message here that on Father's Day, which is June 16th, I'm told Father's Day basketball matches. The teams will be playing at this event: the Nevis Youth and Sports Eagles, and the Nevis CSS Lions, and we have the Sinkers Rams Hitters and the Sinkers Virtual High. So the Nevis Youth and Sports Eagles will be playing against the Sinkers Rams Hitters, it looks like. And the Nevis CSS Lions, which are champion basketballers in Nevis, they will play against a champion team from Sinkers High School basketballers, Sinkers Virtual School. It will commence at 4 p.m. Location at the Cicely Grell Hull Netball Complex right here in the heart of Charleston. Admission, $5 adults, children $1. Rec Life Movements will be there on hand to provide some entertainment. So June 16th, Father's Day basketball matches. One and all are asked to go out and to support. I also have been asked to announce that the Concerned Citizens Movement, the party that I'm proud to lead, will be having a series of town hall meetings. We haven't done it in a while, and we have decided that it's important that we start these town hall meetings to engage with the public. We have been doing a lot of work in the various communities, infrastructural and otherwise, trying to create jobs, trying to create opportunities, and we want now to get some feedback as we are now about 18 months or so into our term, which started in 2017. And so we would want to get a sense from people as to where they are. And we start off on June 13th. June 13th, we'll be at the Red Cross building in Charlestown. June 20th, we'll be at the Cotton Ground Community Center. And then we'll have a break because people will be consumed with the music festival. And then we come back on July 11th, and we'll continue to give updates. We also hope and are planning to be in the tri-state area of New York for July 4th. And we hope to be able to convene a meeting there. Again, we're putting things together, and we'll have some information for you in short order, where we report to Nevisians living in the diaspora in that tri-state and surrounding areas. We know that people come into New York for July 4th. That's the Independence Day there in the United States. And so we hope to make a quick trip up and be there with Kiddishans and Nevisians, our people, and to have an opportunity to report on our stewardship over the last 18 months. This is something that we've been committed to, that we'll continue to do, and we have decided this is a good time to report to our people at home and abroad as to the stewardship of your government. And so June 13th, put that date in your diary. June 13th, we're asking you to come out to the Red Cross building in Charlestown. We usually start around 7 p.m. for our town hall meeting, and we hope not to go beyond 10 so that people can get home at a reasonable hour. So June 13th, and then on June 20th, also put that in your diary, we'll be in Cotton Ground. So the Concerned Citizens Movement, as I like to call it, the Big Blue Machine, is cranked up. It's out of the garage. It's all oiled. It's all painted, brand new coat of blue paint, and we're ready for the road. And so we'll be on the road, and we'll be engaging with members of the public, and perhaps you'll be able, those of you abroad, to listen right here on Vaughan. I think some arrangements, we'll try to make some arrangements. So June 13th, the Red Cross building in town, the first in a series of town hall meetings by your government, your party in government, the Concerned Citizens Movement, And we look forward to hearing our report and getting an opportunity to field your questions and get your feedback as well. And one and all are invited to come out. The members of the NRP, the opposition, small as it is, they say they have questions. So we invite them to come out as well and be a part of the town hall and ask their questions and have an opportunity to interact and to find out what is going on and get answers to some of the questions that they say they might have. And so we invite one and all, June 13th at the Red Cross Building for the first in a series of town halls that the Concerned Citizens Movement, the sitting government in Nevis, the party in government will be holding, and we invite you to be there. And then on the 20th, we're at the Cotton Ground Community Center for the second in that series of meetings. And then somewhere in July, before July 4th, we hope to be in the tri-state area. So we're asking for New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, the good people in Boston and elsewhere to look out for us. We'll be in your area, and we hope that those from D.C. and elsewhere will come up as well, that we can be there to report again about our stewardship and what we have been doing. Let's go back to the phones at 10 past the hour of 9 o'clock. Good evening, you're on the mark.
Yes, good evening.
Good evening to you.
And the mark.
How are you?
Yes. With the basketball school.
Yes.
Remember, he had a lot of problem with them whether they want short labor. So now labor get back the son from them. Nobody works with labor. Everybody got to stay what they got to stay. And I want them the light bill so high with people.
What is the high, the light bill?
Yeah, the light bill high. $208. I'm going to got to be for God. And send child and later baby to grand family.
Okay.
I just tell your family, have a good day.
All right, thank you so much.
Yes.
Okay, all right. Good.
Just take care.
All right, thank you very much. We, as you say, it's a debate, and we expect debate in the country. But I'm just saying, from my point of view, sorry, I'm having a... Okay, am I back on? Okay, I'm just saying, from my point of view, that I'm not getting overly caught up in any debate about Bastille High School, because to my mind, the people have rendered their verdict already. And the verdict was rendered in February of 2015. The people said they wanted a solution to the problem, and Team Unity was elected to provide a solution, and that is what we're doing. And as far as I'm concerned, that is what you elect governments to do. And Team Unity must govern. And it has arrived at this juncture with the Bastille High School after a long period of consultation, a period where some of us thought it was too slow. But they consulted, and they consulted some more. The experts have opined, and people are naturally saying that this is the location and we're ready to move forward. And so a lot of the noise that I'm hearing, as I said, I'm not prepared to engage in that. I will leave that to those. But certainly as far as I'm concerned, let's get on with it. Let's build a school. Let's continue to fulfill our mandate and our commitments to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. Let's go back to the phones. Good evening, you're on the mark.
Good evening.
Good evening to you.
Yes, thanks for taking the call. I am calling about an interview that I read on YouTube about the mother of Culturama. I think it's an interview that may have been aired sometime before, because the person who is featured in the interview as Miss Irma Johnson said that it was done last year, and last year would mean for her 2018. I think Irma has a wealth of knowledge that she could share with whomever is interested about the birth of Culturama. I was one of the people who started it in 1974, and I thought it started there. But when I read or listened to that interview that she gave, I think it would have been 2018, because I just read it last night, I was pleasantly surprised to know that she could have gone all the way back up to, I think, 1956, when they had different forms of Nevis's entertainment during Christmas time. But more importantly, I would think that for one to better understand this thing or this term called Culturama, may want to speak with Miss Irma Johnson about it, because she really is I was surprised. So I know that it may have been aired before, so the local listeners may have heard her interview, but I know the On the Mark show is a global. It has a global listenership, and many people may not have understood most of what she was saying. But if they go to this YouTube and just Google Mother of Culturama, they would be pleasantly surprised to know the amount of information that Miss Irma Johnson has. I hope she's listening tonight, because I really have to say thanks to her for being so detailed in how and when Culturama got started and who participated the way it was at the time. Everything was more voluntary than anything else, because money was not the emphasis at the time. It was enjoyment, entertainment, preserving our culture. That was the essence of the idea at the time. So I would greatly appreciate if whoever is listening now would just Google Mother of Culturama, and there they will find Miss Irma Johnson speaking for about a good 20, 25 minutes. But she has a wealth of knowledge that she can share with any one of us who really, truly want to understand Culturama.
Okay, well, thank
That's
you
all
very
I
much.
have to say. Thank you very
Yes.
much. Have
All
a
right.
good evening.
Good. Same
Thanks.
to you. And
Bye.
thank you. I'm happy that you enjoyed the interview. But I think the interview was in fact arranged through the Nevis Cultural Development Foundation, which is fulfilling its mandate. Part of its mandate, of course, is to preserve our culture, and part of that preservation is to ensure that those people like Miss Irma Johnson, who is in fact the mother of Culturama and was there at the very inception, that people like Irma are recorded for posterity. And so it's not only Irma Johnson, who did a fantastic interview and is a fantastic human being, but we also had people like Jogo Brandy on the kettle drum and others who are being featured. And I want to commend the NCDF, because they're doing a really wonderful job. We have the new leadership there, Jerome Rollins, but we also have youngsters there like young Patrick Howell, who continues to do really a phenomenal job in ensuring that we record these icons. We have the tape, we have the archival material, because that is part and parcel of our preservation of our culture. So it is not by chance that, caller, that you're seeing an Irma Johnson on YouTube. That is part and parcel of what we are doing to continue to ensure that you and others, and the children who are not yet born and those who are still quite young, who may not have had an opportunity to interact with Irma, that they will hear and continually have a history of where we've come from insofar as our culture is concerned. So I commend Miss Johnson for her phenomenal work over the years. She was my teacher in school, so I love her dearly. But I also commend the NCDF for this initiative, and you will see more of that happening as we continue to ensure that the public is exposed to all that we have to offer, and particularly the history of Culturama. They say people without history is like a tree without roots. And so it's important that we continue to emphasize and record for posterity our history, and that is part and parcel of what we're seeking to do. Let's go back to the phones and take some more calls. Good evening, you're on the mark. Hello? Hello? Okay, that caller isn't with us. Let's try someone else. Good evening, you're on the mark.
Brandley.
Yes, good evening to you.
Yeah, I have not, who said this is Culturama 45, yeah, I have not improved the calendar from last year at all. Same old calendar from last year. All I see what happened, they just shift up the events them to different night. This is Culturama 45, not international night. When the international night does bring such a big buzz to Culturama, the committee couldn't even put together a junior soca monarch. What they don't do? They will wait until Delirang, Speedy, and Easy come down all, and they start to struggle for people sing soca. No Miss Teen, the future of Miss Culture. No wonder there is a struggle for girls to take part in a Miss Culture. They can't be sabotaging the young people like that every year, and they're still begging them to take part in a Miss Culture.
Caller, I hear you, and I think that if they had put a calendar, knowing you, and they had had all those shows, you would still criticize. But the bottom line is that shows cost money to put on. And you talk about having a teen soca show, for example, a teen junior soca monarch. Delirang and those people are still very young people. So I don't know where you're headed with that, because the bottom line is it is open. And if people want to participate, they can participate.
Yeah, but Delhi Wangson ain't going to be singing forever.
Well, we understand nobody's going to be here.
You go start build from this younger people.
And we understand that, but building doesn't mean you must have a Junior Soca Monarch competition.
Well,
where in the world you have a Junior Soca Monarch competition?
Well, how come you have a Junior Calypso and a Junior Parade?
Because the Junior Calypso, the Junior Parade is something different in my view. The Junior,
it's there to help.
The Junior Calypso, the Junior Calypso has been there over the years.
Yeah, but it's there to help.
Well, of course it's there to help, but I'm simply saying. So you think we must have a Junior show for everything then?
No, but it's just those specific shows. You must have a Junior.
But I'm not, and I'm saying I'm not agreeing with you. Where else you can point to in the world that has a Junior Soca Monarch competition?
So we got to follow everybody.
I'm just asking your question, sir. Yeah? I'm not saying we have to follow. I'm just asking your question. You're saying we have to. But you got carnivals, you got events all around the world, giant events compared to what we're doing here in Nevis. They don't got no Junior Soca Monarch.
I mean, they ain't got no Junior
Where?
Soca
Well,
Monarch.
point it out to me. Where?
Antigua have a Junior Soca Monarch.
Since when? I don't know about any Junior Soca Monarch in Antigua.
They have a junior. You know what they call this show? They don't really say Soca Pussy no. They say Jump Up Show. They call it Jump Up Show. But they have a Junior.
Caller, I'm not aware that any Junior Soca Monarch is a fixture in anything and in any event. Nevis doesn't need to have no Junior Soca Monarch, right?
Well, how you going to build for the future?
Well, we're building just fine without it. We're celebrating 45 years of Culturama this year. We suggest that we continue to build and continue to have Culturama.
Stop finding excuse for the committee. Because you've been struggling for 40 long years to find girls to take part in a Miss Culture, but you don't want to have a Miss Teen show. But you still beg same girls when they turn 18 to take part in
Caller, from year to year, you have struggles for one reason or another. But this year, for example, I'm told every show has, I think, six young ladies competing.
We know how it is when they come on to this kind of the 45th and the 50th, and then we know we just find participation much quicker, much easier, but we know we just struggle after that.
Well, and that may be the case, but it doesn't mean that because you have a junior show, people are going to go in for the senior show either. So I think you're making some arguments that just don't hold up.
To build.
Well, I understand.
But you don't take up Miss teenagers and send them a singer to take part in a Caribbean teen down every year. You send down young girls down singing every year.
We send one person. Teen. We send one person, caller.
They don't take part in local teen either?
What I'm saying, but you have the idea here. We have emphasized the village festivals because we feel that people can be developed through the village festivals who then come, and when you have the national events, they can participate in that. So,
yeah, but you can't put a village thing with culture.
Well, it's not, but
much bigger.
Caller, you're saying about building. I'm trying to tell you that you can build in different ways. I know you're convinced of the correctness of your position, but I'm simply saying your position is not one that is appealing to me, because I don't see how it makes sense to duplicate every show by having a junior show. I mean, where's the budget going to come from to do that? Where's the support going to come from?
Duplicate all the shows. Look at from the children's show to Miss Culture. Look at the big gap between there. A big space. You don't have nothing there.
Well, I understand.
From the children's show to the
Caller, I understand the argument you're making.
There.
I understand the argument you're making, and somebody has me call and say, you know what, we should have a show every month to build up and prepare. We must have a show for every grade in school to prepare. We must do all of that. But the bottom line is that you must have also a dose of reality and realism. All of you can sit down at home, and say we need this and we need that and we need the other, right? But the question is how the dance is going to pay for the lights. Nobody ever pays attention to that question, right? So I hear you. I'm simply saying you have your view. I don't share your view, but I understand that is your position, that we should duplicate the show. Well, how much more time you want to talk? You've been on the phone now for a little while, caller. So don't suggest that you don't have a time to talk.
Nobody does pay to go to Junior Calypso. That is always free. Nobody does pay that. Nobody does pay for the Junior Parade. That's always free.
Well, the parade is on the road, caller. So how people going to pay for the parade?
Well, nobody does pay for that. If you're saying lights can't pay for dance, nobody does pay for them.
So you want to add to the cost then? That's what you say. So since nobody paying for those two already, add a teen show nobody going to pay for. Add a Junior Soca Monarch nobody going to pay for. That's what you're saying?
People going to pay for the Miss Teen show.
Oh, so you're now changing. People going to pay for one, but they're not going to pay for the others. You can't tell you already, when people give you paper to read off, tell them give you all the variables, because when you're calling, you can't then defend your position. So what exactly are you saying?
The Miss Teen show only keep one time. and people pay to go and see it, and you all take it up after 1 year.
Okay, well, the teen show is gone, and the explanation for that, which I've told you 100 times, was that it should have been a tourism show. And because the tourism show didn't come off, we decided to do it as a teen show during Culturama. So it was a one-off thing.
And it had a favorable success, and you pull the plug.
Well, it was a one-off.
Huh?
And
but
so
yeah,
it's
it's a
right? So, I mean, as I said, caller, listen, I believe caller, I believe if Jesus came down tomorrow and gave you all that you wanted, you would still find something to criticize, because that is your nature. You have never called into this show in all the years that the show has been in the air and had something good to say.
I'm looking at the calendar, and what I see here is the same thing for last year. We said this year is the 45th anniversary.
Okay.
I haven't seen any improvement.
All right.
You have.
Well, I'm sure, caller, you get an opportunity when Minister Evelyn and Abernathy and the guys from Culturama are on, and you can bang on about that, because every year you say the same thing. Once I hear your voice and it's Culturama, I know exactly what you're going to say. You have had nothing new to offer in the last several years of commenting on Culturama. And it's unfortunate, because if you have ideas, bring them to the table. But each year you come with the same thing, and it is always a criticism. You have never been able to offer a word of encouragement to those who work very hard in Culturama, those who volunteer their time, those who have made it possible that we're here for 45 years. Never a word of encouragement. Always a constant, nattering negativity from you. I mean, come on, you know, get some positivity in your life, and if you have something to offer, call back in and offer it in a positive way, and let us try to build together rather than a constant effort to tear down. Because as much as you're talking, I know you don't offer one thing to Culturama, and you will never volunteer half a minute of your time to Culturama, but you will pick up the phone and call in and try to score whatever points you think you're scoring by denigrating and dragging down the efforts that are being made. If you want to make a difference, get in, involve yourself, rather than just stay on the sidelines and criticize. You know, you remind me of those people who are on the sidelines of the band every year. Oh my God, what's she? Meow, what's she? But ask them, will you go in the band and be a part of it and make it bigger? Not me. So what's the point? That's what you call useless chatter. Let's go back to the phones. Good evening, you're on the mark.
Greetings, Mr. Brantley.
Greetings, brother.
And how are you?
I'm well, thank you.
Mr. Brantley, the Integrity in Public Life Committee or Commission.
Yes.
Does that commission have regulations to see it forward, going forward?
Well, this is something that we have been advised by our legal department, that the legislation in itself is sufficient for what we need. We don't need to have additional regulations at this point, but it is something which we'll continue to keep on the review. Incidentally, I'm happy you raised that, because I'm told that the office should have opened officially on the 3rd of June, and it is right there in the Rams complex upstairs. But in terms of regulations, that is the advice we have from our legal people, that the legislation is self-contained and is good to go as it is.
Okay, Mr. Brantley. And one more thing too. That same committee, if we are hearing the committee had some money contribute to it already, why that money that was contributed cannot be a working process, seeing that all of us are saying the integrity in public life is so important to the country? Why citizens now who hold those positions, no matter who they are, should show sacrifice? No matter, see, now you don't get money. Cannot you utilize that money to make it meaningful, that the commission should do its work? Thank you very much.
All right. Well, thank you. I mean, I anticipate the commission and the commissioners will do its work. It's headed by lawyer Keynes, and he has with him Mr. Sidney Newton and the other chap called now Mr. Tyrrell, Alfred Tyrrell. So that's a three party. It is comprised one, Mr. Newton, appointed on the advice of the Premier, one, Mr. Tyrrell, appointed on the advice of the opposition, and Mr. Keynes, who is the chair. He was appointed by Her Honor, the Deputy Governor General. So that is the commission. We have spent quite a bit of money providing an office, providing staff, doing all that we need to do, and as you say, it's now for the commissioners to do their work, and I hope to be able to file certainly my disclosure with them in short order, and I think all the parliamentarians and others to whom the law applies will have to do that. The legal department will continue its sensitization of the public about what the requirements are, and we hope to get to a point where that becomes a normal part of what we do here. And you know, oftentimes, as I said, people don't want to give any credit, but I feel very proud that the good governance agenda in the island of Nevis, that we've done what we need to do, and that we continue to do what we need to do. And I'm very proud that legislation such as that has not only been passed but operationalized. We now have office space, etc. I think the commissioners, their stipend has been agreed, and so we're moving forward. And it comes at a cost, but I think that this is what the public has been clamoring for, and this is what we promised. Let's go back to the phones. Good evening, you're on the mark.
Good night, Mr. Brantley.
Yes, good night.
And I must say this is Culturama season and it's Culturama time for each and every one of us. And I'm inviting the Kittitians, the Nivisians, the Guyanese, the Santo Domingos. I'm inviting each and everyone. We have a float for the agriculture department, and we come in hindsight. So I'm looking forward to see the Kittitians join the troop. All who talking and bang them out are calling each and every one in the troop. My number to call is 766-1821.
Okay, my brother. I think I recognize his voice. I know you're a regular in the troop, and I look forward to seeing you and seeing all the others, and I think that's a clarion call for people to come out and to participate. And that's the point I'm making, that, you know, a lot of us sit back and criticize, but ask them if they would ever lend a minute of their time to help, and the answer is no. So if you're not going to help, then hush them out and allow us to just enjoy the Culturama. That's the way I see it, because I think that all of us need to really lend what we can. And if you will criticize, because criticisms are also useful, then do so constructively. Criticize in a way that we can make it better. And I think that is what we would need to do if we are to advance. But Culturama 45 is going to be huge. It is clearly building up nicely. Minister Evelyn has promised the biggest Culturama we've ever seen. And we've seen Culturama grow over the last many years. It has grown from strength to strength. And this year we really expect a lot of people. Based on who is contacting me and who are coming home. Just today, I spoke to a dear friend who said that 17 of them are coming in and going to be here around that same type of period in the summer. So a lot of people are coming home and having the reunions and thing here. And I think that we welcome that as well. Let's go back to the phones. Good evening, you're on the mark.
Good evening. How are you, Honorable Premier?
I am well, thank you.
This is Denisha Smithen. I'm calling from the Department of Community Development. This Saturday we are having Bandscott Breadfruit Festival, so I'm just using this opportunity to urge the general public to come out and support the Bandscott community.
Okay, tell us that again. This Saturday?
Yes, Saturday's coming is Bandscott Breadfruit Festival. So we're going to be displaying and selling a variety of breadfruit dishes. For example, breadfruit cheesy, breadfruit fritters, breadfruit, curried breadfruit with conch, breadfruit chowder, and many more.
And where is this going to be?
At the Bandscott Community Center, starting at 12.
What about the local bars and eateries in Bandscott? Are they going to have breadfruit as well?
Well, it's a collaborative effort, so people within the community and also hotels are donating dishes, so it's everybody is coming together to donate.
And what time does it start?
At 12.
12. Okay.
Yes, but we're going to have musical entertainment. We're going to have a DJ, and St. Thomas's Festival is also assisting us in terms of, in case certain persons don't like breadfruit, they can have fried chicken or fried fish.
Okay, fantastic. All right. Thank you very much. And that's this Saturday at Bandscott, yes?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic.
Thank you.
Good.
Have a good night.
Yes, thank you very much. So this Saturday at Bandscott, starting at midday, the Bandscott Breadfruit Festival. I have never been, and so this Saturday I believe I should make an effort and come and see what Bandscott has to offer. I did a little tour to Bandscott the other day, and I was very impressed with the food there and what is being offered. And that's what I keep saying, you know, as I travel the length and breadth of Nevis, and I've really, as a Nevisian, committed myself to experiencing all that Nevis has to offer. To go on the high end, so to speak, to the fancy restaurants, but also to go to the roadside barbecue and the guys who have the little bars and restaurants and little hideaway places. There is a tremendous level of life and quality of life that this island offers, and people really should go out and experience it. A lot of people hold up in their house all day, all week, all month, and then complain, nothing there to do, nothing there to do. Let me tell you, I go out on a Saturday, I get in my car, and I cover some ground here in Nevis. People telling me I'm eating too much, but I'm saying I eat small portions. But you go and you enjoy some things in some little nooks and crannies in Nevis, and you realize that a lot of people in Nevis are doing things. The entrepreneurial spirit is alive and well. And a lot of people are providing for themselves and their families by investing and doing these little projects, and eating and cooking local food is one of those. And so I really encourage people to go out to the Breadfruit Festival and support the good people of Barnsgut. A good village with strong traditions and strong cultural traditions as well. And a lot of our icons for culture have come out of Barnsgut. Our first premier national hero, Sir Simeon Daniel, came out of Barnsgut. Barnsgut has produced some famous sons and daughters. And so people should really go and support this Saturday. So thank you for that. And I hope that I myself can make it, God willing, on Saturday and be a part of this festivity. Let's go back to the phones. We have 35 minutes left. Good evening. You're on the mark.
Hey, Mr. Brantley, how are you?
Hey, I'm well, thank you. How are you?
Nice. I'm glad that you're going to start to have some hall meeting. Mr. Brantley, I don't understand this, right? We join up with Sinkits with the federal government, okay? Seeing that we join up with the federal government, is there a federal office? I raised the point already when the Unity had their anniversary, and I raised the question already, and they didn't get no answer. When people call to think it, and because the Prime Minister is not coming up to Nevis in the federal office, which and I was told that is not, the office is not in good suitable condition, then Mr. Brantley, if that is so, okay, when the Nevisians make appointment to see the Prime Minister in Sinkit, they say, tell them, leave the number and they're going to call them. And you cannot go down to Sinkit to see the Prime Minister. Isn't it the Prime Minister is the Prime Minister for Sinkit and Nevis? How come it's very hard for Nevisians to see the Prime Minister? And once, when the former government was here, right, in the federal house, he'd always come to Nevis in the federal office. And if there's a federal office, say why it is being paid for, right? And when it is not utilized by the Prime Minister. I want to know that, Mr. Branson.
Well, you don't believe as the Prime Minister must answer that question? You hung up, but I don't know. I'm simply saying that, you know, the PM obviously has a busy schedule. I don't know what he does in Sinkits in terms of seeing people. We have on Mondays cabinet. He's, for example, this week attending CDB meetings in Trinidad. I can't speak, Cole. I really don't know how his office functions in terms of seeing people. The federal office in Nevis has its work to do, and it does do its work because, for example, they deal with passport applications and various federal matters that they conduct. So the office does have some utility. If it is that you're saying that the Prime Minister must come to Nevis and make himself available in Nevis to see those citizens, 1/3 of the country that lives on the island of Nevis, then certainly I would have no argument with that, but that would be a matter for the Prime Minister to determine his schedule and how he goes about it. It may well be that the Prime Minister figures that Nevis has a Premier, and that if there are issues that are germane, that the Premier will bring those issues to the federal attention. I don't know what his thinking may be because I did not realize that this was a problem. I, however, would urge you not to lead us to believe that any Prime Minister has regularly come to Nevis to have meetings, because that has never been the case either. It is true that the past Prime Minister came occasionally and very rarely at that. So it's not as if the federal office and every week or every fortnight there are people at the federal office meeting with divisions, because that has never happened. In 36 years of independence, it has never been the case. And so I want to make that very clear as well. So let us see. The PM, I'm sure, would hear And if it is that there are a large number of individuals clamoring to see the Prime Minister, I'm sure no doubt he'll make the time to see those individuals. And so we'll take it from there. But the federal office does do what it's supposed to do in a sense of it continues to provide a federal service to individuals who do not have to go over to St. Kitts to submit passports and that kind of thing, but they can do it right here. Let's go back to the phones. Good evening, you're on the mark.
Good night again, Mark.
Yes.
Mark, I want to commend you as a talk show host. I believe that you got a lot of patience because I never, not even Trinidad, I believe, got a youth soccer monarch. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
So this guy look like he just come to frustrate you, just make up things and just, you know what I mean? But Mark, you know, that's the line they run. And Mark, to be truthful, from since this unity government start, you know, I never miss a culture, man. And I'm going to be over here enjoy myself. And I'm going to walk with a group with me. I'm going to pick up my group.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? Because that is where we get really little fun from, especially that now we are, as a federation, together now with the federal government and unity. So the congregation going to be big coming over because I believe we're going to got the charters both come over and all. Because this is the party, is it not, Mark?
45.
45?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We're going to come over and enjoy ourselves, man. I want to pick up my good friend out there. Mortlin, good night. Rutland Hill, good night. And Hilly, there in Stony Grove. And all my friends in the news, my brother, Joseph Woolard, I want to wish him all the best. Deja over there in Bath, I want to wish all my relatives and my brother and my sisters them up there.
Yes.
All the best, man. Have a wonderful night. God bless again.
All right, brother. Thanks a lot. And you said people calling to frustrate. Yes, I mean, some people have that agenda. But I often try to engage. I try to engage with everyone. And as I say, once we're respectful to each other, there's no problem in having different views and opinions. I think that particular caller, my only concern about him is his constant negativity. And with all that he tries I never forget, I always remember the discussion about the Mondo track, because he had all kinds of criticisms and even suggested that we had backhoes over there moving to fool people. I never forgot that. And I always thought that once he was proven not to be so, that he could have called in and said what he thought of the facility, but of course that was not on the agenda. So I keep teasing him and say, when people give you a piece of paper and tell you call in and read what is on the paper, you should at least think it through. And if the questions are asked, then you can answer those questions. But in any event, we take all shades of public opinion, as I like to say. This is On the Mark, and you're listening to Mark Brantley, the host, Straight Talk Across the Narrows, and we're here today, Wednesday, and we've been here since 8 o'clock, 8 p.m., and we shut off at 10. That's when the band strikes up, and so we are here doing the best we can. Just to remind the general public that on the 13th of June, the Concerned Citizens Movement will be having a town hall meeting at the Red Cross building in the heart of Charlestown. One and all are invited. Let us fill the hall and ask questions. You have an opportunity to interact with the ministers of the NIA as we report to you 18 months into our term. And we also will have a town hall meeting on the 20th of June at the Cotton Ground Community Center. Again, one and all are invited to be a part of that. New York, we are coming. We should be in that area sometime around the 4th of July, and we're trying to make arrangements for that. And so we look forward to interacting with Nivisians and Kittitians in the diaspora as well, and friends of Nevis who would come out to these meetings. We always have good turnout for our meetings, and we encourage you to come out and, again, to get a report as to what we're doing. So we'll see where we go, but we're certainly coming to talk to you and to hear from you as well. Let's go back to the phones. We have 16 minutes left. We've lost that caller. Let's try someone else. No? 869-469-1616. 869-469-1700. Let's go back to the phones. Good evening. You're on the mark.
Hi, Mark. Good evening.
Good evening to you.
And how are you doing?
I'm well, thank you.
Okay, I just want to say, in reference to a caller, I think a few callers ago, who spoke in reference to the breadfruit, I think, festival.
Yes.
Do you know what breadfruit can do for you?
Fill your belly. What else it can do for you?
More than that, I could tell you. It's a food that officially heals your body, and it's also very, very good for your hair, among the many, many benefits. One of the best things to consume in our bodies. So I will encourage, the people to really go out and support the local stuff, but specifically what is best for our body. I specifically call in really to speak about something that I take very seriously, and is in reference to the hurricane season. We're just about 5 days into the hurricane season in 2019, and we would have witnessed 5 days so far in the hurricane season, because today being the 5th of June, we have witnessed so far 156 days in the year 2019 so far, with just about 209 more left in the year 2019. But we have 179 more days left in the hurricane season. And we hope that the Master will continue to look over this nation, because we haven't really experienced a hurricane for some time. And we know what it can do. We know what he had done to Dominica and the U.S. Virgin Islands and Tortola and St. Martin and things like that, and Anguilla. And they got some serious economical setback. And we're hoping that the region would be spared this time around. There's a lady who spoke about electricity. And Mark, I could tell you that before the government change, and that day in the Federation, people specifically used to go and shop for candles. There's a large percentage of people who had no electricity because the former government gave this country a whopping 85% increase in the electricity, and there are many persons who used to be up the electricity department boiling long water, and even the former Prime Minister would have said that when he saw a lady bill, he had to hold his belly or his head and ball. And he is the Prime Minister of the country, and he asks the country to come and march against his own government to bring down electricity. When he is the Prime Minister of the country, the Minister of Finance,
yes,
and the one who would have led the bill in increasing electricity in this country.
I remember that. I remember that very well. It was one of the most farcical events in the history of politics here, because the then Prime Minister carried up the bill, presided over that increase of 80+%, and then invited people to come out and march with him against the increase. So it was truly phenomenal.
Leader in the world to ask his own country to march against his government.
Yes, indeed.
I mean, among the many records. But I also want to say, in reference to the Basti High School, that the former principal spoke. And an excellent presentation. And she is so right, because there's so much that's not being said about the Basti High School. And I also will end on that, because I have a lot to say about the Basti High School. I'm the one who brought it on Vaughan Radio. I can give you the date and the time and the day, but I will leave that for another time. I will just say that the present opposition has no moral authority to speak about the Basti High School. No moral authority. And I want to say, which I would say to you, Mark, that Team Unity at its worst is still better than Denzel Douglas and Labour at its best. I will say that God bless you, Mark, and God bless the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. I will leave the serious debate, because there are more time to come when we will have some serious debate and defending the outstanding record of this Team Unity government. You take care, and God bless you.
Thank you very much for that, and I think it is an interesting reminder of that time in our political history when then Prime Minister Douglas would have clearly presided over a massive increase in electricity, and then thereafter invited people to march with him against high electricity prices. So it was really comical, but one of those things, I think, when we write the history of St. Kitts and Nevis, will be mentioned, no doubt, and will elicit a laugh from those, because this is one of the, as I say, more farcical moments that we've had. Let's keep at the phones. The phones are ringing, so let's go back and say good evening. You're on the mark.
Mr. Brantley.
Good evening to you.
First of all, what happened to the lady who used to call you every night, the first lady who used to call you to say good night, ma'am?
Do you have a scripture?
Yeah, what become of her?
I haven't heard her recently. But perhaps she took a break or vacation. I'm sure she's listening though.
I hope nothing serious.
Yes, no man, she's fine.
Okay. Mr. Brantley, isn't other buildings on that same area where the high school is going to be built?
Sure, a whole heap of other buildings. They say all government headquarters is on the aquifer. A lot of the housing up Newtown and that general area they say is on the aquifer. We have housing developments that were built by labor on the aquifer. So the aquifer covers a very vast area, of what is the Bastia Valley, I think is referred to. So there are lots of things on it, and that is why I say I am not getting into that debate. I think it's a rather foolish discussion.
People, they don't like nothing modern for the Federation. The way they stand by let all those, especially government buildings, rot away and sink it. Rot away with sink it out, and so much money passed through his hand. Nobody know what he done with it. And now something new and modern coming. Just because they couldn't wait. They don't want to see it happen. They don't want to see the people get nothing good. Everything. They don't have no ideas. The only idea they have is repairing the whole high school and legalized drug. That's the only idea they have. Nothing else. Nothing else.
But let us remember that people at the old location, there were genuine complaints about people getting sick. And I think that one of the problems I had, I remember Nigel Carty, who was then Minister of Education, suggesting that people were psychosomatic. That is when you're imagining that you're sick. You're not really sick. So I said, well, all these people up at the Bastia High School crazy, all these children, all these legions and things that people are getting on their skin, all of them people are imagining all this. I thought it was insulting to people to suggest that. And at the end of the day, as I said, the people rendered a verdict. We went to the polls. This was a big issue in the 2015 election, and people voted, and they wanted a change, and they wanted a solution. Unity has proposed a solution after lengthy consultations, and that solution is the new Bastia High School. So I, again, respect everybody's right to raise whatever they want to raise, but I think the process was a very careful, deliberate, and consultative process that was engaged in to arrive at a conclusion to build the Bastia High School where it is to be built.
These people been fooling people all these years. Come on, Sir, you there?
Yes, I'm listening to you.
Says she's going to build an outdoor facility. Mr. Blanty, that is something before you was born. When I was a little boy, they used to build up around the island. Outside facility.
I think the public should know, though, that she built it in the 21st century. Right?
I am sure. When I was a little boy, that they were building. That's old-time thing that she's fooling people with. That's what they do for years, fool people.
And she called it an international bath too, remember that?
All right. And I'm sure she didn't. I'm sure she was donation from some hardware.
But instead of it tells you this thinking, because instead of you trying to elevate people, you are going to go build a public bath for people in this day and age. So big man and woman going to go with their soap and things, so they go in public bath, go bathe.
Well, Mr. Wells, those are things that are condemned. They condemn now. You look, drive around New York and you see, they are condemned.
But coming forward, that is where we were. Part of development and advancement and developing your people is to afford them something better. Right?
Yes, right. That's why they do fool people all the time when these fools.
So for her to go and build that, and I remember the then speaker saying, oh, he'd have used it to and some nonsense trying to mama guy people. You know, a whole heap of cataflam the fellas them not engaging, and I think it's unnecessary, because my view is that you can't say as one of your accomplishments that you build a public bath in this day and age. And, I had to take her to task with it because I had it as if it was a major accomplishment. Anyway, the caller before reminded us that this is a hurricane season, a very serious time, of course, each year, starting on June 1st. And tomorrow at the Methodist Church, we have a service that we have every year, the ecumenical service there at the Methodist Church in Charlestown, starting at 7 p.m. I'm inviting one and all to come out. It is a joint service that is done by the Christian Council, I think, and the Evangelical Association. And they invite everyone to come out and and give God thanks and reverence and ask for his mercy during this season that is now upon us. And so we invite everyone to come out tomorrow evening at 7 p.m. at the Methodist Church in Charlestown for that annual service. So please, if you can, make the effort. I think it is important that we ask for God's guidance and protection over this hurricane season. He has been good to us, and we pray that he will continue to be good to us. And this has become now a part of our calendar each year. And we thank the ministers who make it possible, and we hope to be there. So please, tomorrow evening, 7 p.m. at the Methodist Church. Tomorrow, Thursday, 7 p.m., we will have that service seeking God's protection over this hurricane season. And one and all, I invite you to come out and be a part of it. Let's go back to the phones. Good evening. You're on the mark.
Hi, Mark. Yeah, I forget to tell you quickly. I just want to say a big happy birthday to young and beautiful Janaya Tyson, celebrating her 16th birthday today. Okay. I hope that you will go over maybe later or sometime to get a piece of that cake. But also Jean, good night to Jean, and they are having a good time. And to see Janaya reach this milestone, we continue to ask for the Lord to continue to share and shower her with blessings, because she has done very well. We are very proud of her. And this 16th year is a special year, and we celebrate with her. And we hope that she will enjoy the rest and make the best of the rest of this beautiful occasion. So happy birthday, Janaya, and you deserve it.
Okay.
It's your time, it's your moment, it's your day, it's your occasion, and we wish you the very best.
All right, well, I didn't know, but I join you certainly in wishing young Janaya a happy 16th birthday as well.
Yeah.
And pray and hope that she has long life, and that the whole family is having a good time tonight celebrating with her. I'm surprised I didn't get a call from on the hill telling me about it. So thank you for calling in. I appreciate it very much. So happy birthday to you, and we hope and pray that you live a very long life. We have about 5 minutes left. We can take some more calls. The numbers again are 869-469-1616, 869-469-1700. Just a reminder, tomorrow evening at 7 p.m. at the Methodist Church, we have an ecumenical service there. It's an annual fixture now in Nevis, where we pray for God's protection for the hurricane season. One and all are invited to be at the Methodist Church tomorrow at 7. Let us please turn out in our numbers and give God thanks and praise, but also ask for his mercy. We know that we are not worthy, but nevertheless, he has been kind and continues to be kind and merciful to us. And let us continue to ask for that blessing and that mercy that he has extended to us, despite our unworthiness and despite our stubbornness in continuing to do what is wrong. Many times he has been there and continues to be loving and kind to us. And so let us go tomorrow evening and give thanks and praise and ask for his continued protection. He has really protected us. God has protected us. I was here at the last hurricane season. I can tell you that it was at the last minute that Irma turned away, and then the last minute that Maria turned away from us. And I said then, and I continue to say, it was only the hand of God that could have done that, to spare St. Kitts and Nevis, and we were spared for a purpose. And so let us continue to give thanks and praise. So tomorrow at 7 p.m. at the Methodist Church, we will have that service. And then on the 13th of June, which is a Thursday, at the Red Cross, the Concerned Citizens Movement Party that I'm pleased to lead, and the party that is in government in Nevis, is starting a round of town hall meetings to report on its stewardship 18 months into its new term. And so we invite one and all to come out and be a part of that. That will start at 7 p.m. at the Red Cross. And then on the 20th of June, we move to Cotton Ground at the Cotton Ground Community Center. Let us take this call. We have about 2 minutes left. We can probably take this final call. Good evening. You are on the mark.
Yeah, Brantley.
Yes.
You're getting double bubble. You ain't satisfied.
Uh-huh. Hello? Hello? Okay, well, call, I'm sorry about that. I don't know what you're talking about, double bubble and not being satisfied. I would tell you that whatever I get for is provided by law. Whatever I get for, I work for. And whatever I get for, I put double that and triple that back into my community, because I entered politics to serve others, not myself. And so if it's a double bubble, a triple bubble, a quadruple bubble, I can tell you the people of Nevis benefit from it. And that is what I am committed to doing, and that is what I will continue to commit to do. That every penny that I earn, I put back into my community, and that is the way that I've always approached my life in politics. And that is why I know I can't stay for too long, because it will bankrupt me. I must at some point make an exit. But that is what I'm doing here now, Cole, and that's what I continue to do. Politics for me has never been and will never be about earning money. If I wanted to earn money, I would have stayed as a very successful law practitioner, because that is where I made money. And so I entered politics to serve. I know it might be alien to some, but that is why I entered, and that is why I continue to do the best that I can. And I just want you to understand that and be very clear on that, because that is what motivates me. That is our show. Once you hear the band strikes up, it means we have to go. As a parting shot, just to remind everyone, tomorrow night, 7 p.m., we will be at the Methodist Church in Charlestown. And then at the 13th of June, Thursday the 13th of June, we'll be at the Red Cross building for a town hall meeting. 20th of June, we'll be at Cotton Ground for another town hall meeting. And then tomorrow Saturday, as we like to say here, meaning this Saturday, we invite one and all to the Barnesgut Breadfruit Festival, right in the heart of Barnesgut Village, starting at 12 noon. That's our show. The band has struck up. This broadcast will be rebroadcast tomorrow at 1 p.m. right here on Vaughan Radio. And some say it's so nice that they listen twice. Thank you, good night, and God bless you.